All right, so I'm here with Mike from the Ronald McDonald House. Mike, can you tell us a little bit about the facility?
Sure, very quickly. First of all, I've been volunteering about 5.5 years. This Ronald McDonald House, we have 122 rooms for the families within the building, and then there's 5 freestanding houses currently that could house another 15 families. The average stay here up until this last year, obviously it's been a strange year, but it's been around 7 days. But it's not unusual. We've had families that have been here for months, even years. Since I've been here the longest, we had a family here for 3 years, another family for 2.5 years. The only requirements for families to stay here is they have to have a child in one of the Franklin County hospitals. So the majority of the kids are across the street at Nationwide Children's, but they could be at Riverside, James, or wherever, and they have to live at least 35 miles away.
Okay.
Only requirements. We charge families $0 to stay here. They're asked if they can make a $20 a day donation. There's no pressure whatsoever. That's all they're asked to do if they can. We try to provide everything that we can possibly provide so that the families come here pretty much with just their clothes. And every floor is a laundry room, but we try to provide everything else that they might possibly need while they're here so that all they have to worry about is their child in the hospital, and hopefully we can take care of everything else. So it's an amazing place here. The families are unbelievable. It's definitely the kind of place where when you leave here, whatever problems you've got are not that big a deal when you compare to what the families here are going through. I have never in my life seen anything like this, and the house stays open because of donations, things like, as an example, the tabs that your church generously brought in today. Those tabs, I'm not sure the last year, but I know a couple years ago, the house was making around $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 a year on those tabs. They always kind of say that helps to pay for a good part of the utilities here. So the house is pretty much totally dependent on donations, groups, and so forth. So it's an unbelievable place. I've had the opportunity to meet families here from basically every state as well as countries all over the world. And you have no idea how thankful these families are here, that they know that this is like their home away from home. And we have families that come back almost month after month because of what their child is going through. So we've had families here for years, months, or whatever. We have playrooms throughout the house for the kids. We have laundry rooms on every floor. We try to make it as much like home as possible while these families are going through their problems with their children.
Any plans for future growth?
Yes, they're in the process. They haven't made the somewhat semi-official announcement, but because up until earlier this year, this was actually the world's largest Ronald McDonald House. There's roughly 360 of these houses around the world. We have been the world's largest Ronald McDonald House for several years. Earlier this year, the house in Cincinnati, Ohio, had a huge expansion. They added, I believe it was 80 or 90 rooms, so they passed us up. But they're planning to make another big addition here. Unfortunately, because we need it, because as the hospital is growing, we need more rooms for families, so they're planning another big expansion over the next year or so, which in turn will make us, again, the world's largest Ronald McDonald House. Although, as I tell people, all we get for that is just bragging rights to be the largest. It's a case where, as I tell everybody, I wish we didn't need this place, but we do. I've had the opportunity to visit a couple other Ronald McDonald houses, one in Los Angeles and one in Chicago, and we all agree that it's as volunteers and staff as well, we get more out of it almost than anybody else because it puts everything in perspective. So yes, this house is unfortunately having to continue to grow. On a side note, this Ronald McDonald House, we do also have a room at Riverside Hospital in the NICU area for families to come, not to spend the night, but at least to come in and eat and take showers and so forth. They also now have a room across the street in the behavioral care area. Same thing for families to kind of get away from everything. So the whole idea of these houses, again, is to keep families as close as possible while their children are going through some horrific times here a lot of times.
And lastly, if somebody wanted to donate some time or help out in any way, how would they go about doing that?
It's really simple, and we are always looking for whether it's regular volunteers and to volunteer here. All you have to do, the simplest way is just to go to the Ronald McDonald House Central Ohio website. You'll see a link right there as far as volunteering. There's different ways you can volunteer. As I said, we're always looking for regular volunteers on a regular basis. What's nice about here is you can pick and choose when you volunteer, what you do as a volunteer. So you can do it a couple times a month, you can do it every week, every day. You pick and choose what you want to do. We have volunteers doing laundry, cleaning rooms at the front desk, helping in the kitchen. So that's one way. We also, in normal times, have volunteer groups come in and do things like baking. They'll bake cookies or whatever. We're always looking for meal groups. In fact, over the last year, we've been short of that. So we're looking for meal groups to come in and provide meals. There's a couple different ways of doing that. As far as being a volunteer here, over 18, you can volunteer completely on your own. Under 18, you do need to come with a parent. The house strongly encourages children to do that. We love getting kids involved. But if they are under 18, they do need to come with a parent or guardian when they volunteer. As I said, there's just all kinds of opportunities here for volunteers. Go to the website, you'll see a volunteer link. And depending on what you want to do, they'll either bring you in for an orientation if you want to be a regular volunteer. If you want to do something, whether it's a meal group or whatever, there's a link on how to do that. So that's the simplest and easiest way to do that.
All right, Mike, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for all that you do here. We do appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it.